What just happened?
Surprising indeed. Somehow you find yourself here once more. And a fairy. I thought their kind long extinct. Do they yet take refuge in the Elden Sanctum?
Hey! You gonna talk to me or just at me?
We meet again, my friend. Though admittedly sooner than I'd expected. Remarkably, another has awakened. What miracle is this? Yes, that same power now stirs in your companion. Another of the mighty archetypes. Do you recall our discussion earlier about how archetypes are an original form of magic?
Well, more or less.
Consider this. As an elder, you are an outcast of society, yes? Your very identity is a kind of destiny you may defy but not escape. All mortals suffer under the weight of our burdens. But in facing and embracing that anxiety, you make it your innermost power. You find freedom. And so, the lives of those who overcome their hardships and embody the virtues within are passed down as heroic tales.
So yeah, like I said, archetypes equals tropes.
Your companion, too, had his eyes open to his true path and claimed its virtue. That awakening is your doing, though. He awakened to the archetype that protects you.
Hey, hold on a second! Who even are you? How much do you know? I'm warning you, if you mess with him, you're gonna have to go through me!
Ah, you two share quite a deep connection, don't you?
Well, we didn't always. But now we're partners to the end. We're linked down to the depths of our hearts. Right?
That sounds a little forced, but okay.
I mean, I guess.
Oh, come on! I thought we were a team! We have each other's backs, don't we?
The mystical fairy, Gallica. Within her dwells the virtue of the mage. Nurture thy bond with her, and a new power yet slumbering within thee may awaken.
I won't lead you astray. That's the whole reason I'm here.
We have another archetype, the Mage. So now we have 3 to choose from, but what do we do with it?
Hey, wasn't that...
Fascinating. Do you understand what just happened? By connecting with others who have found their resolve, you awaken to new strength. And further, you and all your allies may fight with the strength of any archetype in your circle. As an example, your other companion, the fellow with the eye patch, he seems to have some training and knowledge regarding the wielding of an archetype. By his own account, nothing came of it. Yet if you so desire it, you can awaken the true power within him.
What? You mean Grius could use this power too?
The nature of the Seeker. No. Perhaps it is simply your own nature. You truly are remarkable. If you seek answers, then go and claim them. This right here.
So yeah, you'll have to unlock every archetype separately for every character. You can't just unlock it once and give it to anybody you want. And this is Grius' archetype chart. He currently has nothing. And this is what that mag we picked up was. All you Shin Megami Tensei veterans, it's not Magnetite, it's Magla. So yeah, every character can use Mag to study archetypes, aka gain a new class. But they only need to pay for it once, so then they can swap to that whenever you want.
That means... Now then.
You can technically choose any of these, but we don't have a mage in our party, so the game kind of wants us to choose this option.
This right here.
Fire, ice, and I like to call it either lightning or thunder, it sounds cooler. Such a broad palette could be crucial to exploit enemy weaknesses, and we're going to be going up against a lot of enemies that are weak to these things. In fact, Blizz especially will be very, very, very needed soon. And yeah, mages don't like taking hits, they are very flimsy, but Grius is basically a font of health though. Now about this, it's not entirely true, but you know what? Let me explain the Mage archetype now.
Mage!
The Mage archetype is your first dedicated magic user, dropping your strength significantly, but giving you enough of a boost in magic that even someone not totally slanted towards that stat, like Stroll, will be hitting for decent damage with spells. It's also got a good agility boost for this point in the game. You resist ice, which won't be that relevant for a while, and are weak to pierce, which isn't relevant yet, but in the next arc we'll be encountering a lot of spear and bow wielding enemies, so be careful of your mages then. But the Mage archetype is a vital one for two reasons. It's your main access to elemental coverage besides wind in the early game, but perhaps more importantly is its hero passive. When Will kills enemies on the field as a mage, everybody in the party recovers 1 MP. That might not sound like much, but most dungeons have early rooms full of weak, overworld killable enemies. If you run through them, kill everything with Mage, warp to a save point to respawn the enemies, and repeat, you essentially have unlimited MP. And for this reason, you want to study this archetype on Will as soon as possible, even if you're going for a strength build. Your raw magic stat means nothing for this hero passive. All you need are weak enemies. But in turn-based combat, this archetype offers Bot, Blizz, and Kande the basic spells of Fire, Ice, and Electricity. All of them being cheap and dealing good damage against early enemies weak to them, often one-shotting them even on hard. Speaking of cheap, they're not expensive to inherit to other archetypes too, though I'd rather inherit Psych onto Mage for better magical damage along with coverage. You will need to stick with Mage until rank 6 to unlock all your elements though, which can be a little prohibitive, but nothing in the Nord Mines is weak to Kande anyway, so rank 2 for Blizz is as far as you need to go for now. And I do say need, because you really want Ice here. At higher ranks, you get a passive plus 15% MP, saving you a few hero passive recharge sessions, and Magic Circle, the Mage's equivalent of Warrior's Heat Up passive. It's also important to note that gigantic requirement box. Mage is needed for a lot of advanced archetypes, not just the higher tier magic users, but also the Knight line, meaning your party's tanks have to invest in Mage. Between this, magic damage, weakness hitting, utility, and its hero passive, Mage is one of the most important archetypes in the game. And now, let's spend our hard-earned mag.
Of course.
So, Grius, you're about to hear a weird voice in your head. Just don't worry about it, it's fine. It'll give you the ability to explode things with fire, ice, and lightning. This is still a really cool awakening sequence, though. Yeah, finally after all these years, which might actually not be much, he's a Rogue, and Rogue age at kind of a weird rate compared to the other tribes, but he does still seem to be a veteran. But yeah, finally he gets to actually do this.
I didn't think I could grow anymore.
Now, one kind of convenient thing about this game is that whenever you swap to a new archetype, the game will automatically switch to optimal equipment for that, or I think sometimes it's the last set of equipment that you had equipped on that archetype, which is very nice, because it means that if you swap back and forth, you don't need to worry about, like, just having to remember the exact gear combination you gave every class.
Fascinating.
So yeah, now ourselves and Stroll can also gain new archetypes if we want. If you've chosen a magic build, I highly recommend picking up the Mage archetype for the protagonist now. By the time this dungeon is over, I will want to give Mage to at least one other person, because that optional boss, you really want 2 mages for that. But, given that I'm going for a strength build, I'm gonna give Will Warrior.
Fascinating.
This will lower my magic, but give me a little bit more strength.
All right.
I'm counting up.
Of course.
So about 150 more mag until I can give another person Mage. I'll have to pay attention to that, because you really do want 2 mages for this dungeon eventually. I also like how every archetype has a different, like, different rallying cry, I guess. Also, this is nice because it means he has one archetype that's weak to fire and one that resists it.
Good. I'm still getting stronger.
I think I'll switch over. Thankfully, the first time that you use an archetype, it'll come with an innocent weapon, which, like, is just the default weapon for that archetype, and it's totally free. Your weapon actually matters a lot in this game, because weapon attack, unlike in Persona, and this is a very important distinction, weapon attack factors into your damage you deal with skills. In Persona, it only affects your normal attack, but here it affects far more. In Akademeia, we can, also if I unlock the full menu now, I'll explain that in a moment, but in Akademeia, we can study archetypes, and research some information on them. We can also check out royal virtues, but they won't be relevant until a bit later. I want to say that box is actually a pre-order bonus, so I might not want to use that. But the most important thing you can do in Akademeia is Triangle Gallica, because we need to work on that achievement. But the actual most important thing to do in Akademeia... You can pet the cat!
This cat, you see.
This cat, you see. He is very cute. Please cuddle him a lot. He enjoys it. Oh, he also gives you archetype experience items. I actually totally forgot about that. I just wanted to pet the cat. Well, pat. We say pat in Australia, not pet. We also have this mystical stroll here. The Royal Magic.
That is...
Does seem like this was the king's magic study, but now it's a prison for more.
But...
The very end of the scroll, huh?
What's this?
Take a look.
Yeah, I guess it does. Just a really old guy. That's strange. I can't seem to decipher that name either. I'm sure we'll find out what that name is one day.
Hang on a second.
Adieu. Do make yourself at home.
So, we can study archetypes, we can hear lectures which are just tutorials about how archetypes work, I'll be going over all that soon. We can also check out the shelves here. Invasion Tactics Handbook, oh right, okay, yeah. Wielding weapons. Yeah, so weapon types differ depending on what archetype you're in, and they affect how you fight in the field. The main ones know about other ones that are ranged attacks, because they are insanely useful. Archetype tactics, what have we got in here? Okay, basically just be smart in turn-based combat, I guess. But if we go up the stairs here... Yeah, over here are the icons for each of the archetypes, and we can get a preview of archetypes that we haven't met yet. Thief, Knight, Masked Dancer, Summoner, Berserker. Gee, I wonder why all of these are in the same row as the Mage, Seeker, and Warrior, while the other side of the bookshelf has different archetypes like Commander, Merchant, Faker, Brawler, Gunner. I can't wait until we get Gunner, and Healer. Also, we have this one. The question mark archetype. But yeah, we can read up on Seeker, Mage, or Warrior. So just unlock Warrior for the protagonist. Let's read this. In times of yore, there lived heroes who sought nothing less than perfection with the sword. Their souls together formed the power of the warrior. Off the top of my head, one who fits this archetype is Aurum from Campaign 3 of Critical Role. And they can upgrade archetypes to the Swordmaster or the Samurai. Yes, there are higher tier archetypes in this game. To unlock those, you'll need to further your bond with characters. So, what do we have in our future for the other archetypes? For Mage, we have Wizard and Elemental Master, and also a Dark Magic focused one. Some of them have branching promotion paths, just like every good RPG. I mean, these are actually more separate classes than promotions. I'll explain things as we go. But for Seekers, we'll get Magic Seeker and... Hi there, Atlas. Nice subtle reference to one of your other games. So Seekers are a jack of all trades. I've already gone over this in the Seeker bio. I'll be giving bios to every single type of archetype in this game. What do we also have here? Squad Tactics Handbook. The Book of Apocalypse!
What's this?
That is...
I advise you don't touch that.
Alright.
It's very badly written, has a lot of very awkward metaphors. That's a New Game Plus thing, it's a super boss. In fact, on New Game Plus, you can actually attempt to fight that now, but since your level doesn't carry over to New Game Plus, I do not recommend you try. We also now have access to the full menu. We can check our party, we can check our follower bonds, we can check our skills, our inventory. There's a lot that we can do here. We also have a calendar, but that's not going to be relevant for a while. The Royal Funeral is, though. End of mourning period, Forgiveness Day. The calendar, unlike Persona, only goes up to the 10th month. Now, we did pick up Captain Klinger's uniform, which gives us increased defense and evasion. Also, +1 endurance and agility. Those are actually different things to defense and evasion. Should you or Stroll take... You know what, actually, Grius is our tank. He'll... Oh, wait, no, he's the one who has that equipped right now, because it automatically gave it to him. So no, the game did that for me. The main thing to know here is that how you swap archetypes is on your equipment menu. It actually took me a while to find that out in my first playthrough. In fact, I was streaming and my chat had to tell me.
The freedom of a wanderer. With sword in hand, I cut a path.
One thing that is awesome about this game, every character has a unique line of voice dialogue for switching archetypes to like every single archetype lineage.
My young friend, you are truly as remarkable as I first believed. Others fated to awaken to their own power will be naturally drawn to you. To reach the lineage of power's greatest potential, you must acquire more archetypes and bring them together. After all, a hero without allies is nothing more than a lone dissenter. To save the many, you must learn to fight with the power of many. Only a champion of the people may awaken the power of heroes, and with it, seize a future of their own making. When next you come to see me, I hope it shall be of your own volition. Open my book, then let your imagination conjure this place anew, as vividly as you can make it. I'm sure that will be enough to reunite us.
So, the act of reading our favorite novel is what lets us enter this realm and unlock our true powers. So yeah, this is a metaphor for fantasy having the power to change the world and change yourself.
As long as you walk your path, I shall faithfully watch over you. May we meet again.
What? Where are we?
You two all right there? Looked as if you were in some kind of trance.
Trance? Wait. Have we been here this whole time?
It was strange. As if I felt something in the air.
And then Stroll's like, oh yeah, by the way, Grius just suddenly yelled out, I can use magic now! I don't know why, but I can!
My senses sharpened near tenfold. It reminded me of my old days studying magic.
What? So that wasn't a dream. Grius, that's probably his power. You studied back at the Sanctum, right? I know you couldn't get the hang of it then, but I think we might have just awakened it.
Awakened it? But that... Who are you people? The truth, if you would.
Look, in all honesty, we barely know any more than you do. But the short version is, well, I think you can use that power now.
I think you might be right. The way it feels is... Well, this is magic, eh? I'd all but given up on it, but... Fate had other plans, it seems. Enough. We must move on. There is far to go still. And lad, I follow your lead now, at least when it comes to how we use these skills in battle. We haven't the luxury of time to train with magic.
Same here. You've clearly got a sense for this, and I'd rather make myself useful than muddle your strategies.
So this means that Grius is now finally controllable in battle. And you can also auto-battle with certain tactics, but like, yeah, that hasn't really been relevant to a lot of games since Persona 3. It would be kind of fun to try and see if you can beat this game with just the tactic system, though.
We've 5 days until the funeral. That's precious little time, and we'd best not waste it. Eyes up, novices. Let's clear them out.
While Stroll is an all-round physical attacker, Grius is an all-round tank, having balanced stats but high endurance, along with the best max HP and MP of the party. That second fact makes him your best option for a mage besides mage build Will at this point, even if his magic is a little lower than his strength. Just like Stroll, you want to play to the versatility of the archetype system with this guy. But unlike Stroll, Grius has a unique ability as a party member. During battle, even once you gain full control of him, there's a random chance he'll trigger Phantom Dance and deal small physical damage to all enemies. Not the greatest ability, but extra damage is always nice.
Look,
What's up?
As expected, only we can see him.
Pardon?
Yes, a bunch of guys came in and murdered some miners, but thankfully Stroll turned into a warrior and smashed his face in.
Hold on.
Yeah, we probably should have kept an eye on that guy. I mean, all the best villains run away to fight another day, so we can have our true final confrontation with them when it's most dramatic. Not that, you know, what just happened there wasn't dramatic. I actually have a lot to talk about regarding my initial thoughts of that when I first played this, which you can see if you watch my live stream. It's weird. I was way too harsh on Stroll's Awakening when I first played. I was just, because Persona 5 was so explosively popular, I was just paranoid about them just drawing too much influence from that and not letting Metaphor stand on its own 2 feet. And now that I've fully played the game, they absolutely did. But at the time, I was just on the lookout for anything that was too derivative of Persona 5, and to me, I slightly sensed that Stroll's was similar to Ryuji's, and he's a very similar archetypal character. See what I did there? And I thought, they're just taking... Because, like, it's like a character who has a villain from their backstory, who did them a great wrong in the past, and they get really angry at them and awaken their new power. To me, I was just like, oh, that's just Ryuji. But, like, now I don't feel that way. Now that I played the whole game and have a better sense for Stroll's character, I do think that that's very fitting in the context of what just happened. But I just had to get this out there because, yeah, people were really kind of mad at me for not having the biggest reaction to that on my first playthrough. But those are my reasons. But rest assured, I do like that awakening a lot now. So, Traveler's Voices. Speaking of things that are derivative of Persona 5, that is actually a little different though. So you can see what levels everyone were when they completed the dungeon, and you can also see what party members they used and what archetypes they used. And you can actually switch your own party to match them, provided that you have access to those archetypes and those characters, which is actually pretty cool. So let's go ahead and check the Traveler's Voices. So yeah, most people have a decent variety of, Oh, okay, that's a New Game Plus. I was like, why did somebody, like, grind Seeker and Warrior to level 20 in the first dungeon? But no, that star means New Game Plus. But you can see a few things, like some people use Stroll as a Seeker, some people use him as a Mage, most people use him as a Warrior, and generally their levels are, anything from, like, around the 8 to 9 range. This one's a little higher in terms of level, and the archetype levels, they range from anything to from 3 to like 5 or 6, so yeah. Can give you a bit of an indicator, especially since I'm playing this game now that, like, the game's been out for over a year. Oh, that's actually an interesting angle. I mean, yeah, but they probably didn't expect a bunch of soldiers who were involved in a conspiracy to kill their entire squad and cover it up would come for them.
These come highly recommended.
So, we can now buy some weapons and armor. Let's just go ahead and sell my scrap metal. But, the main thing that I want to buy here, ice chunks. 100 ice damage to one enemy, but more importantly, because this damage doesn't actually get raised by hitting a weakness, is that it does give you an extra press turn if you hit a weakness with it. Guess what the upcoming optional boss is weak to? Yeah, I'm going to want a full stock of these. And now in terms of weapons, as I said, the better your weapon, the more damage you do with your skills. So I'm going to actually give Grius a better star for his Mage archetype. We can also buy better armor, but these could be famous last words, but I might not need it. We can also buy accessories, but I would rather save my money for weapons and armor, particularly that thing. Huh, that's a big increase in attack to Will and Stroll. Can I afford to sell some things and buy that? I'll probably be able to afford it after a few battles anyway. Oh right, I have this hero incense. I should make use of that. Yeah, I think I'll wait and buy that greatsword later. For now, Hero's Incense. This increases an archetype experience by 100, and I'm going to use this on Grius because that wasn't an archetype level. But yeah, I want to unlock more magic for him as soon as possible, because we especially want to have ice for the upcoming optional boss.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we just have more and more reasons to go after Luis at this point. I mean, we did actually gain our archetypes out of it, so it did work out in the end.
Let's go.
Oh, okay, speaking of leading the battle, let me explain the reason why I find the row mechanic really awkward. So, on this screen, you can set people in the front or back row by pressing the L and R buttons. Here is the issue. In battle, changing rows is a free action. This means there is no reason not to put everybody in the back row on the menu screen at all times, because this means that we can always just jump to the front row whenever we do our damage, but we'll take less damage in the event that we're ambushed if we're all in the back row by default. So yeah, I like the idea of row swapping being a free action, but it always sucks when a game mechanic is kind of totally invalidated by just something that you can, like, do. Like, again, this thing, putting everyone in the back row on the menu screen. Not everyone thinks to do that, like on first glance, but once you know, there's no reason not to. The gelatinous is jiggling around in there. So, yeah, we've got slime enemies coming up. We need either somebody with an igniter or fire magic, and that's why we swapped well, we gave Grius Mage, we didn't swap him to Mage because he wasn't anything before.
But
Yeah, they're basically saying, hey dummy, get the Mage archetype before you go in. You should probably be able to afford that. Though, don't worry, you'll get enough mag inside here to go back and grab Mage if you didn't pick it up initially. Dangerous Magla Crystal, okay. Well, we'll have to be aware of that. But also, we can now go to System, and this is where we save and load. Okay, let's move in. Now, one important thing to note is that Will's field attacks will be a lot slower because he's now a warrior. But he also has a giant greatsword that's almost as big as him. And yeah, there are some slimes, but oh, those snakes are the real pain. That red snaky thing with the bulbous growth under its throat. Yeah. Gotta be really, really, really careful of those, as I learned to my horror when I played this on stream for the first time. We can use auto recovery to automatically use skills to recover our health. I probably want to use items for that now. But step 1. Hello there, Mr. Slime. I'm calling a lot of things Mr. 2 good swings of the greatsword, and it's down. So, we have the Gelatinos. It is weak to fire, ice, and electricity. So as long as you have a mage, you'll have this thing's weakness. Seeker, though, won't do you much good.
power of heroes. And to end this,
With sword in hand.
Okay, Grius can one-shot those. You will want to be a little careful, because you don't want to blow through your MP too much in this dungeon. Now, these enemies are very, very resistant to physical attacks, so for that reason, I'm going to yield my turn so that Grius can get another one at the cost of half a turn icon.
Let's stay calm.
That's just what Grius does.
And I don't particularly want to use any of my items. In fact, I'm going to guard here because I don't want you to recover from stun. This way I'm guaranteed not to take damage this turn. So turn order goes in order of agility, and you can see the numbers there next to our like HP and MP gauges. So the thing about the way turn order works is it operates on like a first in, first out stack system. Probably not using that term correctly, it's been ages since I took computer science at university. But basically, when a new turn begins, whoever was next to go at the end of the last turn will go first in that turn. It sounds a little hard like to describe like this, but it makes sense once you're in battle and you've been playing this game for a while. Basically, the game will never like skip over someone's turn. Everyone will get their day in the sun. So yeah, big, heavy, slow attacks the name of the game here, but I really don't like the fact that I'm kind of forced to expend MP here. Of course, if I had a second mage, this would go a lot faster. Hence, well, one of the reasons why I want multiple mages in this party. Now, if you're currently on a blinking press turn, so here's the thing, if I press pass to yield a turn, half turns are always consumed before full turns are. So I can't just pass to turn a full turn that I haven't spent yet into a blinking turn. I will always use up the blinking turn first, and that kind of sucks, but there's really nothing we can really do about that. Oh right, I was dumb and I made this thing recover. Well, I guess we can see what Powerful Strike looks like. But yeah, that was dumb. I didn't take my advice from the first battle. Yeah. If you've got an enemy that you can one-shot with a spell, and you're at the end of a turn and you don't think you'll be able to kill it with a normal attack, don't hit it, because then it will recover from stun. Learn from my mistakes, to quote a Victor the Black Powder Merchant from one of my favorite works of fantasy, Critical Role Campaign 1. So, speaking of fantasy, you might notice that a lot of the monsters in this game are based on classic archetypal fantasy monsters. And I thought that it would be fun to, in this playthrough, talk about my thoughts on, and a little bit of vague research that I've done, on each of these types of fantasy monsters. Because all of these are creatures that they exist as recurring enemies in fantasy for a reason. And they've been in the human collective unconscious, to quote another Atlas setting, for quite some time. So Grius has learned Blizz, and that's kind of interesting on the subject of slimes, because slimes in their original appearance were weak to ice. I was kind of hoping this game would make them primarily weak to ice, but actually no, slimes are just usually weak to a whole bunch of different elements in this game. But that's more taking after Dragon Quest, which truly popularized slimes as fantasy creatures. But we're not going to talk about that just yet, because we're going to talk about the origins, or at least what I feel are the origins of slimes. So,
Right there.
one of the potential origins of slimes, gotta be really careful against these things, because if they ambush you, it's very bad. And that's why the warrior archetype is useful here, because it means that if we get hit by them, they're not going to get a preemptive strike. But anyway, these things are weak to ice, so it's a good chance to show off our new ice magic. So yeah, most people agree that slimes were popularized in the public consciousness by the sci-fi movie The Blob. This is a film about an alien slime that consumes everything in its path, grows bigger the more that it consumes, and eventually becomes nearly unstoppable, until people realize that it's weak to ice. There's actually a little bit of social... well, probably not intentional, but, like, I saw a bit of social commentary in the fact that, like, at the end of the film, they airdrop the frozen blob, but spoilers for the blob, by the way, they airdrop the frozen blob into the Arctic so that it will stay cold forever, as long as the ice caps don't melt. So yeah, melting the ice caps is going to unleash a horror upon the world. Yeah, proving that fantasy, or in this case sci-fi, has kind of always been used by social commentary, just like this game. But anyway, yeah, these Serpentas, they are fairly vulnerable to the slash attacks from warriors, especially from a strength build protagonist. You don't really need to use ice magic against them. You might want to save it for the slimes, which aren't really weak to much else.
Don't let your guard down.
But yeah, while the blob was an early example of it in the public consciousness, I actually think that slimes are mostly inspired by certain types of molds and fungi, particularly slime mold, also known as by the lovely name dog's vomit slime. The thing about these slimes is that despite not having any neurons or anything even vaguely resembling a brain, scientific experiments have proven that they can think. And this isn't my research, this is my own personal unfiltered opinion. I think this is the enduring reason why they are so common as horror monsters in human fiction. There's just something very unsettling about something that by all rights should not be intelligent, that actually is. Again, no neurons, no brain, and yet it can actually think, and it has evidence of being able to strategize. Like there have been science experiments that have laid out food in a map that looks like Tokyo, Japan, and they put a slime mold on that map. The slime mold stretches out to most efficiently get to and eat that food, and the pathways it uses resemble how the subways are laid out in Japan. So again, I don't know what it is. There's just something very unsettling about knowing something that by all rights should not be alive act like a living being.
Hey, good one.
So that's why I think slimes are so popular as monsters and why they're so scary.
Brilliant.
I'm actually really liking my greatsword build in the protagonist. I did not do this in my first playthrough, and it's going really, really nicely so far. However, I want to check how much, like, I have enough mag to unlock another mage and buy a greatsword. I'm actually going to go ahead and do that before I progress any further. Now, we don't get healed by going back to the dungeon entrance, so make sure you ration out your resources. Now, normally I'd put Mage on the protag, but I'm going for a strength build, so it feels like a waste to not be using him as a warrior. So, we're going to give Mage to Stroll. As I said in his bio, he's not bad as one.
Yeah. Right.
Everyone has their own unique oath that they swear when they take up a new archetype. And... okay, I'm gonna hold off. How close is Stroll to leveling up Warrior?
What now?
Very close. Yeah, I'll let him get that one. So it's important to note that archetype progress on every character is separate. I'm gonna have to work on Mage separately with Stroll to unlock Blizz for him. Okay, I'm super close to a Seeker rank up. I'm gonna go back to that for a bit. Hello, I will take your finest greatsword, if you please. Stroll's gonna be keeping it warm for Will, but I'm gonna be giving that to Will later. This is one downside of using a strength build that I think I've already talked about earlier in the playthrough, and that is that Stroll and Will may compete for weapons. I just realized there's actually a reason why I want to go for, by the way, we can actually kill slimes in the field now. Why I might want to go for,
Feel my power growing.
we just got our, new archetype, level ups there. Why I want to go for, Mage on protag, and that's for its hero passive, which I've already described, but we can do that later. For now, though, what are these sick new skills we got? Tarukaja, that's not a bad skill for what's coming up, and Stroll now has Heat Up. Very, very nice, especially since if I swap Will over to Warrior, which I will do now, because I just leveled up Seeker, we're now going to be getting that 10% buff from Heat Up. So I think I'll keep Stroll and Warrior for like one fight just to show the Heat Up buff, and then I think I'm going to go for Mage on him just to level that up and get Blizz.
Don't tell me.
But
So, this is a tutorial about crawl spaces. We can see these with Gallica's face sight, and they're an important way of getting around dungeons. You'll want to be face sighting a lot, because you can very easily miss these if you're not careful.
Let's stash that somewhere safe.
On the subject of slimes, well, two things. One of them, I wouldn't have got a preemptive strike anyway, because yeah, that's the benefit of that in action.
Act fast.
Warrior's hero passive. That is an awful lot of enemies. That's actually very scary, but let's go for the Blizz. No odds of an ailment on Blizz, so it doesn't cost any more or less than like other magic skills of like other elements. But okay, yeah, Diagonal Slash. I should be getting 10%. Yeah, we're doing more damage on our warriors thanks to Heat Up. Oh yeah, and Stroll was doing significantly more thanks to the new sword that I bought him. Which I just, yeah, reminded myself that is on Will, so that was going to go to Will later. I'm so sorry, Stroll, but Will has better strength. So yeah, let's give you the... I'm not going to take the Heirloom Greatsword, I'm going to go for Will. We'll take the... oh, Will already has the Bastard Sword, good. And let's have you work on Mage for Blizz. So we have multiple paths winding before us. Oh yeah, what I was talking about regarding slimes. So you want to kill as many slimes as possible because they drop a very nice item called Corrosive Acid, which is a defense debuff in the form of an item. We don't have access to an archetype that can use defense debuff magic right now, and we actually won't for a very long time, so those will be our only source of this for a while, and it's extremely useful, so yeah, I want to make sure that we kill as many of those. Speaking of killing things, I feel so bad for killing teeth because they're cute, but they are now within melee field kill range. Iron Gauntlet, strength +2. You know what? Because Will took the better weapon, Stroll's gonna go ahead and get these. Okay, you already have strength +1, but this is better, so I'll take that. Oh yeah, we have some miner's boots too, which are already equipped to you because of like warrior auto equipping. Good to know that. Okay, let's proceed further in. In fact, no, let's do an auto recovery. And now let's proceed further in. Okay, now this room with the sandworms that, well, not the sandworms, actually no, they're not even snakes, they're actual sandworms. Yeah, these are the things that killed me in the desert earlier on. So time to exact my revenge. Sandworm Valmo. They've got a solid amount of attack power, but usually creatures that like the sand or desert in fantasy settings don't like the cold. So yeah, you can tell that a lot of things in this dungeon are weak to ice. That's kind of why I wanted to... Oh right, Stroll's not a warrior anymore. Yeah, I would have lost that press turn even if I'd done a pass, so much better use of my time to guard there. So yeah, crystallize. Okay, now look at the turn order. So see how Stroll is going first. Now, again, I think Stroll is going to guard here. So Will was second. Yeah, be careful of having Seekers in your party thanks to that. But, yeah, now it's Will's turn, because he was the one who was set to go next in the turn. That's how the turn order works. My first critical hit, not bad. I might be able to kill you with melee attacks, we'll see. Mages don't particularly enjoy using melee attacks. You know what, I'm actually gonna use that to get a, yeah, getting it. That actually was pretty pathetic damage. Yeah, you want to use skills most of the time more than regular attacks, especially on hard mode. And Grius gains some more magic and endurance. Even though he's not really meant to be like a mage, he's a good all-rounder and also very tanky. Hello there, moths. You are now gonna get greatsworded. A downside of the greatsword is it's not that useful for, oh right, I'm pretty sure Fairy Dust is actually a party heal, not a party MP heal. It is, yeah. But that's still very useful. I think I will actually medicine myself here, though. But yeah, the greatsword is not that, well, great against large clumps of enemies. Unless you can hit them all in one fell swoop. But because it doesn't attack very quickly, against weaker enemies that are going to die in like one hit regardless, you probably want something more like Seeker or Mage's weapon, which we will show off later. So that mining uniform is better than what we had before. Let's give that to my tanky mage Grius while giving the other outfit, because yeah, Stroll's not going to taint himself by wearing Captain Klinger's clothes. To Will, so that he's a little bit more survivable. Okay, that's a dog. Yeah, these dogs are also enemies that you might want a faster weapon for, so you can just very quickly take them out. We're gonna be wanting some of those fairy dust for later on, though. Aha! We have a whole field of Teefs! Nice shot, Will! Yeah, that was great. Alright, yeah, about one more thing about slimes, besides their item drop. Okay, yeah, important thing to note as well, you do not want to get ambushed by these snakes at all. Trust me, my earlier stream is testament to that. I died very horribly through getting ambushed by these things. Kind of just goes to show just how, you know, experience is kind of everything when you're playing these games. Because seriously, like, this run of this area, I don't want to speak too soon, but like, compared to how much I was fumbling around on my first playthrough of this area, which again is captured in all its glory on YouTube in my streams tab. I was getting very badly, in fact I was getting kind of salty. I feel kind of bad about how I was acting there. Sometimes if I'm doing badly in a game, I'll just blame myself and just feel bad. But it's a habit that I'm trying to get better about. Oh, hello there, Sandworm. Oh, you're yellow now? That means you were red before. Interesting. Well, you did take a long time to die before, so in hindsight, I shouldn't be surprised that you were a red enemy.
I call upon royal power within.
I mean, I guess you... Oh, well, that's not good. Yep, that's how, thankfully you're stunned. That's how hitting an immunity works. Okay, so Phantom Dance is just something that Grius can just naturally do on his turn sometimes.
Let's stay calm. Let's go. Still here?
The Blade's still here. Sad. No, hang on. Oh, no, you have the most MP out of any of us. I'll just do that. Will's actually burned through a good chunk of MP. So, I actually might need to worry about that. Unless... Okay, good, you have Blizz. And that's actually all I want from your Mage archetype right now. Although, having Stroll as a second Mage is going to help against the worms. Yeah, this is what I love about turn-based games, and why I just don't think that they're in any way, shape, or form outdated design. Just all of these tactical choices you have. Do I put Stroll in Warrior for the, for that, heat up buff, or do I put him in Mage for, extra access to weaknesses on the Sandworm, which are quite a dangerous enemy type, and take a long time to die otherwise? Oh no, that's scary. However, I got an ambush there. Oh wow, even Grius could just kill it by bonking it. Okay, good. We got a Grius Mage level up. How much mag do I have right now? Okay, I have enough mag to get Mage on my protagonist. I shouldn't just call him... I should just call him Will, because, you know, he's his own guy. And Mage on Will is going to be useful. Okay, Guard's Talisman. Well, you don't really have anything. Endurance +3. Why not? I keep getting interrupted with my slime tangent. I'll just say it. I think that slimes were popularized in a lot of fantasy media, particularly Japanese fantasy media, by Dungeons & Dragons and later Dragon Quest. Which was influenced by Wizardry, which was influenced by Dungeons & Dragons. So mostly Dungeons & Dragons. And like in a lot of fantasy media, fairies are naturally attuned to the forces of magic, including rooms like that. And this is another Persona 5 kind of carryover. But well, you know what, considering we found one of these rooms, it's a place to rest. That's a good time to stop for now. I'll see you next time when all that preparation hopefully pays off as we face this dungeon's brutal optional boss.